Hi everyone, my name is Steve. I'm an engineering manager here at Bloom and Wild, and this is my colleague Chris, who's the lead backend Ruby developer. So we're going to talk you through a little bit today about what we do and some cool apps that we've built in recent times to kind of help people out in the warehouse and where our warehouses are going, and that's a bit of a view into 2021-22. So thanks, Paul, for the introduction. A little bit more on Bloom and Wild. So most people know it as a flower brand, which is what it is, but it does run on technology. So we are the leading European online flower delivery company, and we operate in 8 markets. You may or may not have seen in the news that we recently acquired a European company called Bloomon, and that actually added quite significantly to the number of people in our organization. So we've now recently crossed 300. To put that into context, this time last year, we were just hovering around 100. We have 50 engineers located in multiple countries. We've organized our development teams into squads that fit neatly into the customer purchasing domain. So for example, you might have checking out, as in like putting flowers into your cart and clicking on that and all the responsibilities that go with that. That's a domain. Another domain becomes customer relationships. So like marketing emails, things like that. Another domain, which is where Chris and I live, is in fulfillment and delivery, which is after someone hits the pay button, everything that needs to happen in the background for some flowers to arrive at their house. We build everything from apps to fulfillment technology to front end. And in recent times, we're focusing more on enabling fast and safe changes at scale. So I'll hand over to you, Chris.
Cool, thank you. So yeah, next slide, please. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what our tech stack looks like, just sort of a high-level overview. So obviously the back end is the domain that I mostly live. I'm, a full-stack developer, but yeah, mostly back-end focused. So we have a website which is built in Angular. We have consumer apps, which obviously are Android and iOS. And then we've got a couple of internal apps that we use. So one's a delivery app, which is used by our delivery drivers, some of the ones that we hire directly. And, that's to basically upload a picture of where a package is being left and mark deliveries as shipped in the system. And we also have a labeling app which is used in the warehouse, and this is a piece of tech we added about a year or so ago, which I'll talk in more detail later on this presentation. And then to come over to the back end, so we have a Rails 6 app. And yeah, that hosts several APIs. So we've got the consumer-facing APIs that serve the website and apps, and we have some internal APIs, which obviously use for the other 2 clients there that are shown. So in terms of data storage, we use S3 a lot for a lot of our content that we serve and that we generate, and then we use a Postgres RDS database. Although we've recently switched to Postgres Aurora because it gives additional performance benefits for us. We have our first microservice, which we built also about a year ago, and this sits in our team, mine and Steve's team, for the fulfillment and delivery squad. What it is for is to generate labels for the gift cards and shipping labels that we ship out from the warehouse. So each customer will get a gift card, which will go in the box. They can put a message in there and stuff like that. So the reason we split that out was because generating PDFs has different performance characteristics to the rest of our system. Requires more memory, more CPU. So it made sense to move that out of our psychic workers, which it was originally in, and move that into a service. And also, like, it's not something that we do all the time, like continuously. We kind of batch our PDF generation. So, we are currently using Fargate, ECS, and Lambdas, and obviously only paying for the the work that we actually do in the service, so we don't have to run a box all the time, or several boxes. And then obviously, we communicate with lots of external services such as carriers or other software services, sending emails and marketing, etc. Cool. So we'll talk a bit about warehouse tech. So the first thing I wanted to talk about today was zebra printing. So if we go to the next slide. Thank you, Steve. So yeah, as you can see, I'm not the best slide designer in the world. Basically got some images that I've shoved in here for you. So the image on the top left there is our one of our production printers in our UK warehouse. And there's a picture of, for example, of one of our gift cards that we've got there. So we embarked on a project to put zebra printers in the warehouse. So these are used for printing our shipping labels. So before we had these, we had some very thin card with a shipping label attached to the inside cover of the gift card. This label would be peeled off when packing flowers, and the upshot of this is like it causes the printer a lot of problems because the card is actually thicker on one side than it is on the other. So the sheets of paper and the feeder kind of stack at an angle, and that causes like feeding issues. And yeah, the quality of the cards were not great, so they're quite flimsy, and it sort of leaves this kind of film on one part of the card where the shipping label was before it's pulled off, after it's pulled off in. So we transitioned to use zebra printing. This is a sort of picture of one of our initial sort of prototype setups. This was all connected via Bluetooth. There's an Android app there that communicates with the back end and fetches a label and also talks to the printer. So we actually moved away from using Bluetooth connectivity because there's some additional latency there, and yeah, sometimes you get connectivity issues. So we moved to USB-C sort of setup, so everything's directly connected. So how it works is there's a QR code on the back of the gift card, which you can see in one of those pictures. And when basically what happens is the QR code is scanned and the label's fetched from the back end and printed on the zebra printer, ready to be stuck on the box. So obviously, as a result of this, we have fewer paper jams, better quality cards, and yeah, I think it just improves the customer experience, getting a better quality product at the end of the day. Cool. Got a short video of this in action. This is again one of our prototype setups. So the QR code is scanned and the label comes out. Pretty straightforward. Cool. So moving on, so to a project that we built recently. Again, this is app-based. So if we go to the next slide, this is an app we built to help with stock counting in the warehouse. So we've recently started to have to operate our own warehouses. So the first of which is in Germany, a place called Bergkamen, and that's now fulfilling all of our customers in Germany and Austria. So we had a bit of a problem here, which was like initially when we set the warehouse up, we were running everything on spreadsheets, and it was very difficult to have a view of what stock we've got and yeah, like where it is. So we built this app to help with stock counting. So you can create a new count there on the left-hand side. That second image is a barcode scanner. It's probably not great image there. Basically, the idea is you scan a barcode which is on the product in the warehouse, and then you can enter the pack size and quantity, and then it's stored in the app and can be uploaded later on. On that last picture there, there's some stock count items in there, and what you can also do is you can click on one of those and like edit it, delete it, that sort of thing, if you've made a mistake. Cool, so this is what the upload looks like. So once you finish counting, you can upload your stock count. So we kept this simple. We could have integrated with like Google Sheets or some other backend, but we decided just to use app intents and then share it to Google Drive as CSV data, and this is like some test output that I'll put here showing that it works. Cool, so there are a few considerations when we built this. So there was a lot of third-party apps available, which we evaluated, like quite a lot of them. Some of which are free, some of which were paid. What we found was a lot of them were too complex for our needs. So there was a lot of initial setup, or you had to upload your product catalog in order to use the app. And yeah, it was felt that was a bit too much for what we needed to do. And other third-party apps were pretty straightforward and simple to use, but not very efficient. So it required too many taps, or you couldn't do continuous scanning within the app. So we wanted to make this process as efficient as possible to save our warehouse colleagues time, essentially. So we decided to go for an in-house app, and the good thing about that was we already had a load of code with regards to scanning and layouts and styles and sign on and stuff like that for the labeling app that we've already presented. So we were able to reuse large parts of that, which made it very quick and easy to build. And we also already have a private Google Play Store where we can publish our internal apps and push updates and stuff like that. Another consideration was in the warehouse, and this probably applies to all warehouses, we had patchy Wi-Fi. So that meant we had to store the data locally within the app. So we used an Android Room database, which is a wraparound SQLite to store the relational data in the app. And then at the point where you wish to upload it, the data's formatted and output into CSV format using Android intents. And because this is show the code, there's some code. Enjoy.
Thanks, Chris. So I'm going to take over for one or two slides. Something to bear in mind with when you work in e-commerce is that, like, I think people sometimes have a perception that when you work in tech, you want to work in like cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or like whatever is seen as like the bleeding edge kind of stuff. Something to bear in mind with e-commerce is that the tech that you work on will actually have real effects on real people, and that can be quite rewarding at times. So this is Thomas, our warehouse manager for one of our warehouses in Germany. To put into context, like the benefits of the app that Chris threw together. So before the app, Thomas and one of his colleagues were spending 3 hours a day in a refrigerated flour storage unit doing stock count. And let me get the laser pointer. Yeah, doing stock count. They were also spending 3 hours a day times 2 people counting goods coming off of a lorry every day. And then and that was all being done with pen and paper. And at the end of the day, Thomas would spend an hour and a half putting this into Excel manually. And this was on his train ride on the way home. Chris took maybe 3 to 4 days to throw together this app. And that was in around November of last year. Since then, the time spent in the refrigerator house has halved. The time spent counting received goods has halved. The Excel upload takes 5 minutes, so Thomas actually just chills out on his train ride on the way home. So this is one example of how tech in an e-commerce business can make real changes for real people. Like our stock counting app has saved dozens of hours, probably in the hundreds by now, in the warehouse. Another example of like tech being used is we integrated with a DHL API endpoint for them to be able to deliver Christmas trees. And you might think to yourself, well, integrating with an API endpoint isn't the coolest thing in the world, but actually what it means is people received Christmas trees at their doorstep in the middle of a pandemic. And then other functionality we've developed recently around shipping method overrides. Long story short is we can estimate when deliveries might not reach people on time for their birthday or their anniversary, whatever it is, and we're able to intelligently reroute them via other shipping methods. So let's say it was supposed to go Royal Mail, which is now taking too long. We can reroute it with like maybe DPD or something, and people receive stuff on time. So there's a lot of real benefits to real people from working in e-commerce, and I think especially when you work in a flower company, it's very much tied to human delighting. So that's something that we can find quite rewarding sometimes working here. Back to you, Chris.
Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to talk a bit about one of the projects we're currently working on. So we go to the next slide. It's basically warehouse management. So yeah, obviously, like operating a warehouse at scale on spreadsheets is not ideal. So we've been looking at third-party solutions for warehouse management. You know, obviously, like these are quite well-established systems. So this is something that, you know, we want to buy rather than build. Doesn't make sense for us to build something like this because it's not an area of our speciality. So we're looking to integrate with a third-party solution, and yeah, apologies for the really boring-looking diagrams. So we're going to build a service integration layer to help us communicate with the warehouse management system and potentially other systems that we need to talk to and integrate. So we're basically, our infrastructure is hosted on AWS. So we're looking into some AWS options for communication. We use SNS SQS for our labeling service. And yeah, we're looking into Kinesis data streams as a potential option to get data out of our monolith app like into third-party systems. So obviously there's loads of benefits of you know, doing this integration. So we should get better visibility of inventory in the warehouse, better operational efficiency, time saved, better processes for goods in and out, and like it'll give us the ability to better track stock as it moves around warehouse locations. So we'll be able to see exactly where the flowers we need are or the packaging we need is in the warehouse at any given time.
Okay, so it goes without saying that we're hiring. We've got open vacancies right now for, I believe, mid and senior backend Ruby developers, but we've got plans throughout the rest of the year for testers, got potentially vacancies in MarTech, and anything else that might come up. I think there's also a front-end vacancy coming up later in the year. So if you're interested in what we've done and you'd like to know more, please head on to our careers page on our website and take a look at what we've got going on. Thank you very much, everyone.